Now let's think about a little bit about when we're putting things together. How do we set things up? Now, for example, imagine we come up with a mind map. And we're doing our mind map about using, let's say, using Smart. Okay, we'll take some ideas. Right, we can say that it hopefully engages. Yeah, that's lovely. And hopefully we can say that it was really useful, that it allowed us to save our work, and perhaps it allowed us to review. And I'm going to leave it there. Okay? Nice if you can write neatly. Dead simple, nothing particularly exciting. A couple of bright colours maybe might help, who knows. Alright? If I was doing that lesson in the class, I'd be saying, right, there's our central concept. Right, you've got a few minutes to think about it. Talk about it with the people around you. Jot it down on a notebook. Jot it down on a little whiteboard board. Whatever you want. Give the chance for the children to talk, to get involved, to be interacting. Then take your feedback. You'll get better responses. If you're a bit sneaky, you can actually get around some of the groups while they're talking. And if some of them aren't thinking of some of the ideas you want, you might just slip in the odd question, the odd key word. They'll give you that back as feedback. It helps to make your lesson go in the direction that you want it to do. Because just opening it to general feedback, sometimes they don't get to the direction that you need to be. Okay? You can support in that way. So they give the feedback and such like. Also, when they're giving the feedback, engage little Billy over there. Lovely, but thank you, Billy, for that. And perhaps engage us, and we'll put that smiley face there, because that looks just like Billy when he's engaged. We'll pop that on there. Billy, thank you for that. That's a really important thing for us to remember. Oh, and little Kath. Saving. That's a really important thing because we get to put it on the learning platform. If we forget it or we miss the lesson, we can go back and review it. That's lovely. That's little Kath. Okay, I'm going to put you on there. And you've got a nice unusual face there. Okay, and so on. What am I doing? What's the point of these little pictures? What are these little things, these little ideas? I could be taking things out of the gallery for this as well and popping those on. What I'm trying to show you is that when I start to build these things up, and then I save my work, File, Save As, just to stick it on my documents, and we'll call it Save. Okay. Tomorrow's lesson, 3 weeks lessons time, I can open this resource. You think of that just from a learning point of view. Nothing else, nothing flashy, nothing whizzed across the screen and made a loud buzzing noise. Just from a learning point of view, if you're in a lesson, you get the next day or the day after or perhaps 2 weeks later or perhaps when you're doing revision 6 weeks later, 6 months later, to revisit that lesson that you were in. This is not something that I pre-made. It wasn't an on-screen workbook, was it? It wasn't something that was already engages, save, all nicely typed up with a nice bubble around it and perhaps a little image that might help them remember. This was constructed in a social manner. When I get the children back in and say, remember Billy, you told us about engages. Are the children going to clue back into that quicker than if I put engages and maybe put a little engagement ring or put a little symbol in there, something, and had it pre-prepared for them, like a poster on the wall, one that I'd made and I'd done all the work and thought, oh, this will help them remember. Do they remember the social situation? Oh yeah, Billy said that, didn't he? Because he said that, and he had that spiky hair, and Mrs. Stockdale drew it. Oh, and Seth and Kathy always share that unusual face. That they remember. So, learning is a social process. We know that. You look at all the research; it tells you these things. So why shouldn't the Smartboard be part of that social process? Why shouldn't it be a record of the social experience? That when the children come back to it, they don't just clue into the learning, they clue into the social experience that they had. They get back to the learning, it reactivates it in their mind much more quickly, much more effectively, so that you're not always saying, oh yeah, engaged, yeah, it was about They remember how that he said it, they remember that she said it. They won't remember every time, but my argument would be that we'll remember it more efficiently than if it's prepared. It's something I've made a lovely screen all ready for them before they even start, so that they're coming to it and I'm saying, right, this is important. Even if I'd done it in a really nice way, and perhaps I'd had it set up, let's go on to here and just do it as a thing, and I'd had it as a reveal. It's not going to work entirely. But if I had a special reveal where I can rub that out and reveal the word, even that little gimmick, that helps. That puts it in the mind, that keeps them engaged for that moment. That's important. Sometimes you need that. But for that reactivation of learning, you need to have the student input being on there. It might not be the children writing on the board, because it might take them a minute, 2 minutes to come up and do that. Does that add to the lesson? Does that help with the pace of the lesson to help everybody's learning? Or is it more efficient for you to ask that child what their opinion is, because they've talked about it with their friends, they've had that activation, and me to act as scribe, perhaps a child each week to do it as a different job. But me to describe, I'll jot that on, thank you for that, we'll move on. We'll come back to that later and we can isolate that. And of course this is brilliant because now what we can do, we can take this little bit here, I'm going to take it with a line on it as well, I'm going to group those things together. Okay, and it's on the bigger thing, it's on the bigger picture. We don't want to focus on the bigger, this is the text level if you like, this is the bigger concept level. If I can take that and copy it, and just open a new page, of course I'm going to add my background colour, because we never try to make it look at just a horrible screen on time and paste. Right, now that becomes a title, I can work on that in more detail. Right now, children, you're going to do that bit of it, you're going to do that bit of it, and then about 5-6 minutes I want you to feedback, and perhaps you could bring your findings to the front. That then puts onto here, and that's the bonus. Why not? And all I'm doing is using a glorified blackboard or a glorified whiteboard, but what, from a learning point of view, am I doing? I'm breaking down learning into its granular parts, and then I can take those things that might be important, and I might think, oh, actually, I need to put that on my first list and put it back onto here, copy and paste it onto here. I might just find that actually, just as a clever thing, this might be our beginning of our topic. I might even say, let's take that from there. If I just right-click on any object, it tells me what I can do with it. If you know nothing else, remember that. Right-click on that object. Okay, I'm going to link it. I'm going to link it and I'm going to say, a page in this file, and which page should it be? It'll be that page, won't it? Because that picture goes with that one. Yeah, I'll make it the object so that it touch anywhere in it and it'll take me, and okay. Alright? And straight away, without any clever tools, nothing whizzy, nothing went woo! And made us all remember. Touch on that and it takes us to that information. Now how powerful is that if I leave it on something like the learning platform for when they're doing some revision, or if I leave it onto a place where they're working in the suite later and they can go back and review that. They could add to that. I've saved it, that's the template. Maybe their work needs to go down here now and they add in their work and do their response to the things that we've said as a group. Really simple. It's playing with ideas, but what is crucial is that the board started blank. It came from questions, it came from interacting with the children, getting their opinions. Most of the time they were probably sat at the desk, but they weren't doing nothing. I was throwing questions to them, I was asking them to be involved, I was asking them to discuss with each other, come up with things, so that everybody becomes as involved as possible. Some children might need a bit more challenge. I'll go and sit with them on Monday. Those children might need a little bit more support because they're struggling with this concept. I'll go and work with them on Tuesday. You have that flexibility as a teacher when you're constantly at the children doing and activating things, and then using yourself as the feedback at the front, the facilitator, okay, to bring their ideas together and use that skill. What you will find is that as you do more and more of this, the children will become more skillful from seeing what you do. If you give them the opportunity to use this software on the network or in netbooks or on whatever smart PDA, if you're using that, you find that they start to organise their thinking in a similar way. They start to see patterns, and working in this way is really, really powerful. Have a try. You just never know, it might work.